Verse 13 says, meats for the belly, and the belly for meats, but God shall destroy both it and them. Now the body is not for fornication, but for the Lord, and the Lord for the body. And God hath both raised up the Lord, and will also raise up us by his own power. Verse 15 says, know ye not that your bodies are the members of Christ? Shall I then take the members of Christ and make them the members of an harlot? God forbid. Verse 16 says, what? Know ye not that he which is joined to a harlot is one body? For two, saith he, shall be one flesh. But he that is joined unto the Lord is one spirit. Verse 18 says, flee fornication. Every sin that a man doeth is without the body, but he that committeth fornication sinneth against his own body. This is Paul right here. He's addressing the Corinthian church. And just brief history on Corinth. Corinth was a city that was filled, heavily intoxicated with sexual immorality every day, everywhere you went. And Paul, and there were Christians living there, and he had to address them to let them know that they could not be a part of the culture that was around us. Reminds me a lot of what we are bombarded with on today. Our youth and even adults, we have the internet is such a good resource, but a bad one at times. It's so much filled with sexuality. You could see videos all day with sexuality. You could see pornography at the push of a button. And then national TV, cable television, we're constantly bombarded to become sexually active, so much so that, especially for young boys, we're challenged as young men. They don't even validate you or consider you a manhood or a man unless you've had sexual experiences. You know, the guys in high school or guys in college say, man, you a punk. If you haven't lost your virginity, you know, you a square, or you a nerd, or you weak, or whatever the term is for today. You a lame. That's what the young people say today. So we're constantly pressured to participate in sex. So we have to, as Christians, avoid the things that lead us down that alley. And that's why we started with kissing. All those things are just avenues. I even watch TV shows that say stuff like, well, did you go all the way, or did you just get to first base? You know, did you get to second base? Entrapment. So it's like first base might just be maybe the first time you held hands,
kissing and caressing,
or a small kiss. And then second base might be, you know, the real heavy kissing and caressing. Third base might be, oh, this time we're heavily kissing and touching each other, but now we got our clothes off, but we still haven't gone all the way. And you know what happens when you hit the full home run. You know, we've actually committed the full act of sexual intercourse. So Paul was just alerting them and letting them know that their bodies were not supposed to be used to that. We can draw our focus to verse number 13 right now. And right now I'm going to switch from the King James and read briefly from the Amplified version. It says, food is intended for the stomach, and the stomach was made for food, but God will finally end the functions of both and bring them to nothing. The body is not intended for sexual immorality, but it is intended for the Lord, and the Lord is intended for the body, to save it, to sanctify it, and to resurrect it or raise it up again. Verse 14 said, and God both raised the Lord to life, and will also raise us up by his own power. And then Paul says this to them. He said, do you not see that your bodies are the members of the Holy Ghost? Your body is the very temple where the Holy Ghost dwells. When you are filled with the Holy Ghost, that is Jesus Christ living inside of your body. And he came inside of us to do several things, to quicken us, to give us power over these type of things. The Bible says we get power after we have received the Holy Ghost. But now we have to learn how to empower the Holy Ghost in us. And what I mean by that is we have to learn how to sow to our spirit man and not to the flesh.
Before you get into that, let me interject here. In verse 13 it says, meats for the belly and the belly for meats, but God shall destroy both it and them. Now the body is not for fornication, but for the Lord, and the Lord for the body. That makes a big difference. That makes a big difference here, because previously the introduction was like, these things that you used to be, you were not fit for the kingdom. Now that you are, because you have a spirit. And so now Paul is still kind of letting us understand, or trying to push home the idea that we are no longer what we used to be. And you cannot use the body for a simple thing as far as gratifying your hunger pains. When you have sexual desires, you can't just go and have sex as if you would eat to nurture or to gratify hunger. And so you have to think differently about this. And the reason he's saying that is, if we drop down to 15, it says, know ye not that your bodies, not your stomach, but your bodies, are the members of Christ? Shall I then take the members of Christ and make them the members of a harlot? God forbid. And see, right here, this is where Paul is in the mind of a lot of Christians today, or people, period, because we have utilized the body itself for the same reason that to feed its desires, like we have a need to eat. And Paul is making a distinct separation here. And he's saying the reason you cannot do this, you cannot continue using your body for sexual gratification, is because it's not yours anymore. It never was really yours, but we did what we were supposed, what our flesh wanted us to do before we received the Holy Ghost. But now that we have received the Spirit of God, our bodies is the temple of the Holy Ghost. And so now when we take these bodies into the same arena whereby we used to operate, now we're bringing a transgression and we're defiling our bodies. And here is where he's basically saying all of the things that we go out and do and pursue. We might be pursuing a college career or a college degree so that we can have a prosperous future. We might be trying to purchase a house, purchase a car, and we're building this world with, the American dream, with the picket fence and the dog and the husband or the wife and the children. But if we started out taking the temple of God and just utilizing it as we feel we need to, or if we feel we want to, then what we're doing is crippling ourselves. Because fornication, like other sins, unlike other sins, allows the enemy to come in and do what he will, to do what he pleases, to take control over what God has possessed. And so we are opening ourselves up to an external and an internal battle constantly, because we're now connecting what is spiritual to that which is carnal, to that which is not concurring with spiritual matters. And so every time we do that, it should be a conviction. And this is what this program, this teaching is about. Is to bring a conviction to you, to let you know, and to pull the mask off, and to pull the covers off the enemy and all of his plights and all of his strategies and methods to bring us to complete failure, to allow you to see what he is doing behind the scenes. Because it's not about us, it's about taking our souls and killing and destroying the people of God.